Sex workers of Reddit, what's the weirdest kink a customer has asked you to fulfill?
I was paid $200 to kick/knee a customer in the balls till he came. Only took about 4 times to make him come. Did it a few times. He even paid me $500 when I went out clubbing to do it in a corner of the club.
Not super crazy, but I had a guy approach me through Reddit and ask just to be able to give me money with no strings attached. There was a couple-month period during which he would gradually send me money in multiple $15 payments spread throughout the day. Sometimes we'd text too. Sometimes we wouldn't message for a week, but he'd still send me money and quietly wait until I felt like talking. He liked when I ignored him. And if we talked, it turned him on when I was mean. He ended up giving me about $1,500 without him ever asking for so much as a photo.
I was a cab driver for several years. Night shift, ghetto. Loved that job. I had a regular escort who always requested me, probably because I didn't ask her for anything whilst driving her to her next John. She'd go up into an apartment, house, or hotel room and have me wait. Sometimes a full hour, but rarely over 15 minutes. I never argued because waiting and a return trip keeps the meter running longer. One time she came down after maybe 10 minutes. She looked half amused and half terrified. She said that the guy had her put on a muumuu and an old lady wig, then yell at him while he took a shit and, edit for clarification, during he jacked off. Fucking weird. Freud would have something to say about that guy, no doubt.
I think I might qualify as a one-time sex worker. One night, after riding the subway home from work, a guy followed me off the train and offered to buy the shoes off my feet. He stammered through some nonsense about being a sneaker collector and paid me $450 in cash for my old, sweaty canvas Vans. Totally worth the 2-block walk home and my socks.
I once attempted to get into selling feet pics many years ago. This one guy messaged me and said he'd give me $200 if I was able to track down his identity in 30 minutes based off of a few clues he'd given me. He told me his state and job. And some surrounding area clues. Wasn't able to find him. Guess I'm not the next Sherlock Holmes. He was very heavily implying to me that he wanted to be humiliated to people he knew in real life and wanted me to have this power over him that I knew his real identity and could out him on his fetishes. Edit, I was unable to enter the feet pic selling community because, while my feet are very small and neat, perhaps cute to some people, apparently the angle of them isn't pleasing to the eye and everyone wants very long angled toes, which I do not have. Edit again. I seriously got gold for regaling my failed attempt to enter the foot porn community by being a bad hackerman/stalker, and I feel like I'm in a psychedelic dystopia.
Had a roommate in college, 2000s, who did private adult videos by request only, basically expensive personalized video porn. She came home pretty bummed one day, and I asked what was up. She said she had been paid $500 to put on an adult diaper and comically large baby bonnet and walk otherwise naked around a local college green space. The whole video was her walking around with her fingers in her mouth acting like a confused adult baby. At the end she was told to pee in the diaper and show the camera. When she thought she was done, the director asked if she wanted to poo in the diaper for $1,500 instead of $500, saying the client asked if it was possible. She declined immediately and the director was, I guess, okay with it. She was bummed she missed out on making an extra $1,000 because she had pooped before going to work. We both laughed so fucking hard. What a ridiculous thought, darn, if only I hadn't pooped before work I'd be making some real money.
A client pays me to teach him how to blow his nose properly, making sure to say key phrases like blow it clear. Another one set up a fantasy scenario where I receive an expensive vibrator in the mail, but when I open it, discover a tiny man that's stuck in it. He said what you don't know is that man was a factory worker that got stuck in the vibrator making it. I was obviously confused where he wanted me to go with this, but suggested I should try using the vibrator with the man attached. Nope. The client replied, I can't come unless you destroy it.
I love the lack of kink shaming here. Also, not a sex worker, but ex-military. Some guys aren't too shy about sharing even the most personal shit. One of my buddies had a kink with those horse girls that actually pretend to be horses. I mean, they gallop around on all four and jump over the obstacles, the whole 9 yards. He grew up on a ranch too. Said, what's wrong with combining the best of both worlds? That sentence raises more questions than he'll ever need answered.
Nothing particularly exciting, to be honest. Kind of disappointing. Slightly more interesting requests included: 1. Pretending to be married and having to be quiet so we didn't wake the kids. 2. Armpit licking, surprisingly common. 3. Pretending to be a cat and meowing, crawling around and drinking out of a bowl on the floor. 4. Wearing pantyhose and being stretched and put into various yoga-type poses while he sniffed me. Met more interesting folk in my day job, I think. I feel obliged to mention the human toilet though. I never met him, but some of the other girls said there was a guy who would pay girls to poo in his mouth. Apparently they would line up outside his room to do it. Not judging, but I don't think that I could ever do that.
A customer had a fishing fetish, got fisher outfits for some girls like a raincoat or some shit, and brought a fishing rod, boots and all, and the girls had to act like they were fishing him while he was laying on the floor, and move like a fish. Craziest shit I heard, but whatever floats their boat, I guess.
Not me, but I heard this story from a friend of a friend who worked in a BDSM club. She had this client that would come in with a few bin bags full of nettles. It's a stinging plant for anyone not familiar. Wikipedia says they're not native to a lot of places. Anyway, then they put a tarpaulin down on the ground so they could roll him up in it with the nettles like a joint. Then she just kicked fuck out of him, and apparently that's what got him off.
After reading through this thread, I'm nowhere near the perverted bastard I thought I was.
One of my favorite customers at my restaurant is a SW, and she always tells me stories in exchange for a free boba. She's also the best tipper. The best story she's told me is a guy paying her $200 to just stand on his belly, nothing else, just stand there fully clothed. Dude didn't even jerk off or anything, and he made an appointment every time she was in town, lol.
A guy hit me up for feet pics once, completely out of the blue. I know this basically bog standard. But I wasn't a sex worker, and whoever this guy was ended up hitting up about half of the guys at my college, 300-400 guys. It was all in the span of a week or so, and he offered good money per pic. All told, I heard he spent upwards of $5,000 trying to accumulate a collection of my college's male feet. Edit, $5,000 in total. He offered $5 to $20 per pic, I think. I know some dudes sent them for free just for the hell of it. I was kinda drunk when I got hit up, so I'm pretty sure I sent some in. I'm curious if they made their rounds on the internet now. Edit 2, won't give too many details, but this was in the South within the past 8 years. Also, LMAO, I've already gotten people who want to see my feet.
I think the strangest I've ever gotten was a man who had a huge fetish for Disney characters, and I'm not even talking just Disney princesses. He loved shit like Lilo and Stitch or Pooh Bear. He regularly paid me several hundred to dress up as his favorite characters and basically verbally abuse him. It was a sweet gig while it lasted, however strange. Nothing really surprises me anymore after that one. Edit, this blew up way more than I expected. I'll try and get to everyone's questions and messages eventually. Thank you all for being so kind and open-minded.
I'm a dancer in a club, and I love kinky guys. Other than the doms, I won't get into that whole thing. Kinky guys trend to be pretty passive and tip well. Mostly I meet foot guys, cuckolds, men who wear women's undergarments, and just overall subs who are open to whatever I'm into. After 15 years in the industry, I thought I'd heard it all. Then I met a guy who said he was into bones. As in, he bought a 45-minute room and just wanted to feel my skeleton. He was touching my collarbone and hips pretty hard. It wasn't the most comfortable dance ever, but he was so grateful to be acting out his fantasy and super respectful of me and my time. One of my favorite guys ever. Update, you all have really great questions and responses. I would love to answer meaningfully as I enjoy my work and love to talk about it. Just gonna take some time.
I was a receptionist in a massage parlor. Had a guy who would ring before attending to request that a girl take a cold bath before he got there. Apparently, he would ask them to lie completely still as if they were dead. If he caught them moving, he lost his mojo. Most of the girls only saw him once and refused him thereafter. Creepy. Edit, we also had a dungeon. Fuck knows what went on in there, I did not want to know. Edit 2, this is a then dash and now pic of the place, it's a pretty locally famous building and everyone knows what it is. The bottom right window is the dungeon. Top left was the schoolroom.
Standard, not a sex worker, but I smoke cigars for fun, and had a guy request to pay for a custom video of me trying to light a cigar with a broken lighter, and get very annoyed that it won't light. Specific.
Make a video where I'm sunbathing, and then I accidentally say the magic words, and then suddenly I get yucky slime dumped all over me. Did you ever want to get slimed on Nickelodeon as a kid? Yeah, me too. Guess what? It's fucking gross. Feels like getting barfed on and it stinks like sour milk. That smell didn't leave my hair for a week. And if you're interested in what that looks like, someone posted a GIF from the video on here a few years ago. Edit, found the GIF, see no evil monkey.
Online only here. I had a man pay me $500 to sit on my feet in panties and a t-shirt and turn my back to the camera and play video games while ignoring the camera. Worth. Edit, since this blew up, it was via cam online, so he wasn't there in person. Yes, I have below zero, I bought it day one, but unfortunately my PC has way too low specs for it, so it sits unplayed in my Steam account. Thanks for all the fun comments, guys. I did not expect this to go off like it did. You're all cool people.
Not a sex worker, but my friend who has had a client that needed expensive gourmet pies thrown into his face while he was strapped to a chair.
I am no sex worker, however this seems fitting. Somebody I know went out with somebody that would get extremely turned on by her singing Happy Birthday Mr. President to the point he'd come with no stimulation at all.
Oh, I also had a guy out of his mind on Molly have me over for like 5 hours, but had me arrive at midnight, then proceeded to dress me in every Halloween costume he had ever worn and photograph me in pirate stuff, LOTR costume, and a wizard a large staff taller than I am. Guy who makes the Radiots YouTube VIDs, why didn't I get on the VID? I have hella upvotes and 2 awards. Kinda sad about it, frowning face.
Watch this question be in an Ask Reddit text-to-speech video.
Am no sex worker, but I did know a guy who would roll a layer of tissue paper under his foreskin when he had sex. Was an awkward night when his girlfriend revealed she had to remove dried bits of tissue paper from her anus.
I was on a job at a new construction house, and I was talking to the detail cop. Now this house being built was in the high millions, and had a police detail protecting it 24/7 paid out of the owner's pocket, with the police getting paid OT. The reason is because one of the workers had a fetish for wood and got caught on camera jerking off on the custom woodwork that was being done.
I've only sex worked once when I didn't have enough money for a night out. Guy paid me £250 for me to sit on his back naked for 3 hours. He didn't do anything, just laid there, no conversation whilst I watched TV. I felt like I'd ripped him off, but he was very appreciative. There's plenty of fetishes I don't indulge but understand how people get off. But I struggle to understand what he was getting out of it. To each their own.
In a special massage place, friend of a friend of a friend told me that one of her customer comes in regularly to get his ass cheek scratched for 1 hour.
I had to slip a 45 record over the top of this guy's penis, then sit back with a cigarette and spin the record with my foot, take a puff and say, "Hi, my name is Jeannie and I'm 15 years old." Then blow out the smoke. I said this over and over until he came, then he tried to give me the record for a souvenir.
I'm not a sex worker, but the weirdest request I've had was on Reddit from a guy offering me $50 an hour to crush mealworms and insects with my feet. Oh, and the bugs would be supplied to me. Another time, a guy offered me $200 just to show up and meet him. Didn't have to talk or stay. Just collect money and leave. Which was obviously sketchy as fuck, and I didn't go.